And now, TSPN is proud to present Insights on Leadership and Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Welcome to Insights on Leadership and Life. I'm Roberta Pickett, your host, and I am a leadership trainer, business, so a life coach. And a lot of people they've heard of what life coaching is, but they really don't understand it. So I thought tonight might be interesting for us to explore that a little bit further and actually do a demonstration. I've never done it before in front of a TV, so it'll be a little bit of an experiment on my part. And typically, coaching is done in a private situation. So I have one courageous soul who's me in this regard tonight. So stay tuned because this is going to be interesting. Our guest this evening is Alison Mader. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you.
And
glad to be here.
I am glad that you're here too, because like I said, it takes a courageous person to be willing to step out and be on camera, if you will.
Well, I got nothing to lose.
Well, good. Well, I want to tell the audience a little bit. You know, I have seen many magazine articles and these where the life coach in the article or the TV show has been pretty a negative or a disparaging characterization of what life coaching is all about. And, you know, in any profession, there are some unscrupulous people. That's the way life is. But the reality is there are amazing coaches out there who are full of integrity, full of compassion, and very effective at what they do. So I don't know tonight in front of the TV, but I wanted to share it because I want people to have a realistic perspective of what coaching is all about. It's an opportunity for people to really delve into themselves and figure out what it'll take to get them moving towards their own goals. So oftentimes we say that coaching is about deepening the learning and forwarding the action. So that is really the essence, if you will, of what coaching is all about. It's not therapy. Therapy is very specific for deep-rooted emotional situations, and there are times when a life coach may be working with somebody that they go, whoa, this is outside of my scope. It would be much better for you to be talking to a therapist. So it's about really achieving the goals or the dreams that you want to work on in your life. So that's what we're going to be talking about as we proceed this evening. So thanks for being here, and thank you, Alison, for being here.
You're welcome.
So we're going to play with this. We have the whole hour. We're going to be in 4 tournaments. But before we get too far into it, let's just hear a little bit about who you are. This is my first time meeting you tonight.
Okay.
We've emailed and talked on the phone a little bit, but we haven't actually met before tonight. So,
Well, you know, everyone loves to talk about themselves, so
That's
I can
right.
do that just fine.
And coaching is all about you, which is really nice. It's one time
I
it
can
gets
do
to
that
be
just fine.
all about you.
Well, I am the daughter of 2 journalist parents. Very educated, very wonderful people. Grew up in a happy household, but we moved around an awful lot, which was a little disconcerting, both for my sister and myself. We did see an awful lot of Europe and some of Canada and the U.S. Then right after college, I worked for Glamour magazine for a couple of years in New York, and then
So you went into journalism too?
I went into journalism too because I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. Now that started a long time ago, the not knowing what I want to do, and that's what I want to get out of the coaching, is helping me figure out where to go now at this point in my life. And I did follow my passion, and after I left Glamour magazine, I went out into the woods, literally. I worked for the National Forest Service, and I was a canoe guide, and I was on ski patrol. And I did that during my 20s, then became pregnant with my daughter, and then got a degree as a gemologist, which is someone who identifies gemstones. And I graded diamonds and gemstones for about 12 years with the Gemological Institute of America. Then started my own jewelry business and taught yoga. Got my daughter off to college, but took about the last couple of years off work because through all of that, though I was I was not passionate about what else I was doing. And at some point, I kind of became lost. She's off at school. She's doing wonderfully. I'm so proud of her, studying international relations. And I'm at a crossroads. I'm not sure what to do. Is that kind of what you wanted to hear?
Yeah.
Or a little bit more about me?
Well, obviously, we're going to be talking
Okay.
more about you as we go through the evening. But it gives me a sense of your background, and it's amazingly diverse. I mean,
Jack of all trades, master of none.
well, maybe that's a perspective that you're holding.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
because, I mean, gee, from canoe guide to gemologist
Yeah,
to yoga teacher,
yeah.
wow. What that tells me about you, and like I said, I don't, we don't know each other very much yet, but what it does tell me about you is that your mind and your intellect is broad-based, and that there's a lot of stuff in there that you're not just single one thing that you have the potential to do. There's a lot of things that you have potential to do.
I think we all have a lot of potential, and I think that you might be right. I have a lot of potential, and I'd like to believe that. And that's where I think I got kind of lost along the way.
You stopped believing in yourself.
I stopped believing in myself, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds trite,
No,
but that's what I did, and I just don't really know where to go from here.
Okay, so what we're going to do, what I'd like to do is in coaching, we call it designing the alliance. And what that means is really figuring out before we get started in having our conversations about how we want to work together. And it's something you can actually do in any relationship. We don't usually do that when we meet people. It's like, well, how do we want to work together? How do we want to handle conflict? How do we?
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever done that, yeah.
No, I know. But if you think about it, if I had done that with my first husband, it might have turned out differently. Who knows? So designing the alliance. What you said this evening, one of the things you wanted to get out of this was to find out maybe what your passion was.
I feel like I haven't been passionate about anything in a long time.
Okay. And how do you feel because this is a conversation, so what we're going to be doing is, or I'm going to be doing is asking you questions. I'm going to be pulling out and then reflecting back, maybe just giving you a chance to really think about things that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to think
Right,
about.
I was just going to say, haven't cared to think about. Yeah. Yeah.
So when we're having this conversation, how do you want what's the best way for me to be with you?
Not really harsh, but direct.
Okay.
Direct. I think I can take constructive criticism pretty well. I don't like it when someone yells at me.
I won't yell at you, I promise, I
okay,
promise.
okay.
I did have one guy I was coaching, he said, "Man, you sure know how to step on a guy's shoes without getting his shoe shine dirty." And I thought, okay, well, that's pretty good.
Well, that's a pretty good compliment.
Yeah.
That really is, actually. No, I could use some constructive criticism. I really could. I'm feeling like I need some direction. I need some help, but maybe some compassionate help. Yeah.
I promise.
Okay.
One thing that I want to hold is that between both of us, because I believe that you just being here this evening shows that you've got some courage in you, seriously.
Thank you.
And between two, and I've never done this. I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking for me too to be doing this, and knowing that there's people watching, if you will. So I think when you've got two courageous people that are willing to step out a little bit into an unknown territory, but if we hold that we can be clear and focused on what we want to accomplish, I think positive things can come out from tonight. So,
Okay, great.
and that's kind of my role, is to hold that space, if you will, hold that energy, no matter what's going on between us.
Uh-huh.
So you might start to go, I can't do this, I don't feel good, and I'm going, yes, you can, because I know you can. I know that inside you are creative and resourceful and perfectly whole just the way you are. And it's from that place of where you are right now that you grow. It's not about going backwards. You can't change the past,
Yeah.
but you can change this moment. And I think that's what's so powerful, is every moment is a new choice. Every moment. Yeah, you feel that right there. It's like, yeah, but it's not easy.
Well, I guess I tend to withdraw, just like right now I'm sort of stuttering, saying, yeah, whatever. And there's probably sort of a lot more to say. It's, I do realize I'm on camera, so I may not open up quite as much as I would otherwise.
And that's okay.
But I do want to be really open and honest, and I would like to answer anything you have to ask me. I really am at a point in my life where I need to make a decision, and I'm here in Amador County because of a wonderful friend who saw I was in a bad situation, or really not a bad situation, but I saw I was in an uncomfortable place
You
within
needed some
me.
support.
And she said, come on and just hang out with me for a bit, and then introduce me to you, and I think it's a great opportunity.
Are you looking for work in Amador County? Or are you
Yes.
looking?
Yeah.
So you're actually
Yeah.
thinking about moving here
Yeah,
permanently. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So
I am.
we're going to wrap up and come
Okay.
back in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Okay.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Insights on Leadership and Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Welcome back to Insights on Leadership in Life. I'm your host, Roberta Pickett, and we're having an interesting evening tonight talking about life coaching. And we're not just talking about life coaching, but we're actually going to demonstrate it over the rest of the hour. I am a life coach, certified through both the International Coach Federation as well as the Coaches Training Institute, and helped to found the Sacramento Coaches Association to provide support for other coaches in the area, and also to give a resource for people looking for coaches. But with me tonight is Alison Mader, and I, again, thank you, Alison, for being here. I want
you.
our audience to know that this isn't a reality show, that this isn't a situation we've made up and it's role-playing, that it's real, that this is your life, and we're going to be ignoring the camera for a while and just having a conversation that's coaching.
Sounds good.
So thank you again for your willingness to do it. So you want to figure out someplace back you stopped feeling good about yourself, you stopped caring, stopped feeling like anything mattered. What happened?
There's a couple of times in my life when I felt good about myself. And they were both early on. One was in my teens, and one was in my 20s. Other than that, it seems to me like life has been a big struggle, and I think that is nobody else's fault or nothing else that happened to me. I think that was maybe poor choices that I made, and when you make what you believe are poor choices, that just seems to just cut you off at the knees.
So you've made poor choices, so you're a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anyone who hasn't made any bad choices.
Do you think maybe I'm a perfectionist? I don't know.
What do you think?
I think that's a possibility. I think
Maybe perfectionist is not the right word, but what are your expectations of yourself?
Well, I think I expect myself to be okay all the time. I certainly don't expect everyone else to be.
Oh, but everybody else doesn't have to be, but I have to be.
Yeah, I hate to be embarrassed. I hate to feel like I look stupid. I hate to be wrong. But it's not as if I can't admit it. It's just I hate myself when I am.
So what would a perfect life look like for you?
Okay, a perfect life would look like a good relationship with my daughter, of course, which is a thing that every parent wants. Loving relationship with friends, family and, in my love life as well. And actually, I have all that. I have all that if I would just let go and let it come in. And also being successful, meaning being comfortable financially so that I don't have to worry all the time. I don't have to worry about the next time I go to Target how much I'm going to spend. Feeling like what I want to work at, whatever that is meaningful, and having a deep spiritual life. And I think the thing that I've been missing is the spiritual life, and so I'm kind of working on that.
So when you say spiritual life, can you describe to me what you want from a spiritual life?
Well, I believe in a God of a sort, but I think you have to find him for yourself, or find it for yourself. And I know it's there. I've never been absolutely 100% convinced that it had me in mind. I know the earth is all connected.
So the sense I'm getting from what you've said is that you're trying to you've got a belief at some point that there is a greater being.
Oh, absolutely. The earth is connected in all ways, and it's really helped me out, yes.
And yet you don't feel connected.
Correct. Getting there.
Good.
Getting there.
So when you say you're getting there, what do you notice that changes? In those moments when you feel like you're getting there, what's different?
I feel like I can accept myself a little more. Yeah, a little calmer, a little more at peace.
What if that voice, when you start to accept yourself in that moment, maybe that's the voice of what you call God, right?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe it's just you can't hear sometimes the voice or the message or that feeling of acceptance.
I think that we can sometimes cloud ourselves with all sorts of... I'll say I think I can cloud myself.
I owned it, yes!
I can, do something that'll turn my mind away, whether it's sit down and read a book or watch Netflix for 3 hours in a row or have a glass of wine or something, something that takes me away instead of maybe going for a walk or just sitting with it. I tend to try and exit.
You tend to try to exit, okay,
Yeah.
and maybe you try to exit too much.
Too much.
Maybe that what I
Yeah.
hear. But, on the surface, having an afternoon or an evening where you do 3 hours of Netflix, there's nothing wrong with
There's nothing wrong with that, but when you do it
if you're doing it all the time.
too much,
Okay.
yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you have your daughter, and good and bad relation. You're working on that, or it's
Well, I think we have a good relationship. It's just that she's gone.
so
She's
the
gone.
empty
She grew
nest.
up. you know.
You're an empty nest,
Yeah.
and you miss her.
I miss her dreadfully.
Yeah.
Dreadfully. And she really was, I was always a single mom, and so she really was the center of my life. And while I think a child is the center of every parent's life, it just, maybe it was a little too much. And we did have a wonderful relationship, but then she just grew apart from me, and it just broke my
She
heart.
grew up. So
Yeah,
you
she grew
mentioned
up.
earlier that if when I asked about what would a perfect life look like, you said to have a good relationship with my daughter and your friends and family.
Yeah.
And love life as well.
Mhm.
So, but your daughter is away. So what's a perfect relationship or a good relationship with your daughter now that she's almost a grown woman?
If she would return my calls more often. But it's not
She's
because
still, she's 19?
Yes.
Wait till
she just
she's
turned 19.
27.
And I don't want to seem like, someone who's bugging her. I really, I don't bug her, but I've made this rule for myself that I'm going to email her a couple times a week, just to, and just chatty emails and let her know what's going on. And yeah, that's been a big thing in my life. I didn't expect that to be such a big thing.
So there might be a place inside about really, really, truly redefining in your head what is your new relationship with her. How do you want to be going forward with her?
Yeah, I want to be somebody that she looks up to.
And,
Yeah.
and if you're someone that she looks up to, what is it that you would have to do different, be different? What has to change in you if
Get a
if you
life.
Okay.
Redefine myself. Okay, that sounds
Redefine.
like a cop-out. Get a life. Yeah, redefine myself, which is why I did want to talk to you. I'm working at redefining myself. A friend of mine said the other day, figure out who you are, become that person, and go sell it.
Yeah, and it's the truth, and it's easier said than done. It doesn't just happen like that. So you have a great approach. That's absolutely the truth. Find out who you want to be, figure out how to get there, and start taking action. And what I said earlier about every moment is a new choice, it is so true, because we can get off track, or we can get depressed and despondent and, oh, nothing's going right. And yet, if you switch that, I literally have a little switch right here. When I feel myself, I literally go like this, because it helps me make that emotional connection with, I have a choice to turn that switch whichever direction, positive or negative.
See, and that, it seems like, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No,
okay,
go for it.
It seems like I need to do that right when I wake up, because, that's what you're talking about.
So what would you need to tell yourself in the morning when you wake up?
Instead of grabbing my book and reading again for a little while, maybe wake up and think of a few things I'm grateful for. Yeah. Or instead of thinking, oh, here goes another day, thinking, okay, today I'm going to get this accomplished and this accomplished and this accomplished.
I'm
maybe that'd help. Yeah.
I would encourage you to do the gratitude is very powerful, whether it's verbally saying it out loud, writing it in a journal. It is very powerful. I'm not super religious, but I believe I'm a very spiritual person. And one of my favorite quotes is, "This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad." I used to say that in the shower when I'd wake up because I was going through a rough time. And it was a reminder to myself to say, it's my choice to make this a magnificent day. It is a day. I mean, all the potential is there.
But now what we have to do, and what I struggle with sometimes, is like, I can have all these great ideas, but I got to do them. I've got to do them. Instead of
are you
picking
willing
up
to
my
commit
book.
to doing that tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a start. So you're going to start doing a gratitude. I would suggest 3 things a day at least. In fact, every time you start feeling despondent or whatever, stop and think about gratitude. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
And be back in just a few minutes. Come back and join us for Insights on Leadership in Life.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Insights on Leadership in Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Welcome back to Insights on Leadership in Life. I'm your host, Roberta Pickett, and I'm here with my guest, Alison Mader, who is courageously being coached by me this evening on the air, which is pretty amazing. So we were just talking about how, maybe taking a few minutes, it doesn't take a lot of time, but right when you first get up in the morning to
Write 3 things I'm grateful for,
Yeah.
and maybe actually I have done meditation a little bit before, and sometimes meditation is just 6 deep breaths. It doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
deep.
No, and it's one of the things that I used to do wellness coaching, and they'd say, well, what do you recommend? And I'd say, breathe. I mean, literally taking deep breaths. And as a yoga teacher, my goodness,
I should know.
I'm sure you
and
know
I
that,
should
right?
be, yes, and I used to do a daily practice, and I'm getting back to that. And it really is a way to start your day. And
So how long is a daily practice for you, or what would it look like?
gosh, it could be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. It just depends on how much time you have that day.
Have you joined any of the yoga classes that are up here?
I've gone to a couple of yoga classes, and I do like them. I tend to, it's something in the last couple of years that I've really gotten away from. I haven't taken care of my health. really haven't been good, but before I would get up every day and make a cup of coffee and go do my yoga before I even thought about it. And sometimes I put a tape in, and that sort of seems a juxtaposition of coffee and yoga, but it worked for
A
me.
little bit of evil isn't too bad.
And really, it could be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. It just depends on the day. But it just sort of centers you.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what do you get from it when you do what you call your practice?
Well, I prepare for the day, and it brings everything down, but yet it can energize you. The combination of the breathing and the asanas really does put you in the right place. And I do like to put on a tape sometimes, because there's some very wonderful yoga teachers out there who've made DVDs, and then it's somebody telling you what to do. You don't really have to think about it. It actually allowed me to get through a job that I really didn't like. It allowed me to be in the right frame of mind to go in there. It got me through a divorce. I can honestly say the yoga helped. Yoga helped, and the breathing.
And
really
so
helped
you
a
said
lot.
you've gotten away from it. What's holding you back from really getting back into it?
It's sort of when I'm starting to get back into it. I am, but it's sort of when everything, I don't know, when I just got sad and I felt lost, and that sounds really pathetic, but that's what I felt like, sad and lost and stuck. And then I didn't know what to do, and it was easier to just lie in bed and turn over and read my book and go back to sleep for a while.
You know, I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but sometimes my understanding, with women in particular, that when we feel sadness, it's really masking something else.
Insecurity,
Okay?
low self-esteem. Yeah, and those have been,
Sometimes
Forever.
anger, too.
yeah.
Oh, there was a little grin. Okay, so there was a little anger in there.
Well, the reason that I sort of grin at it and say that I shouldn't is because nothing came to me that I didn't bring on myself.
Okay, and I get
Honestly.
that. So I hear that you, on some level, you take responsibility for all the stuff, the sucky stuff, if you will, that's happened in your life.
All the whining I'm doing, I take responsibility for what brought it on. Yeah, there hasn't been anything really bad that's happened to me. Yeah.
It's just that it hasn't turned out the way that perfect life that you.
No, it has not.
Okay.
It is not, but I think it can, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
what I'm hearing though is that you're taking responsibility, and it's like the anger maybe is at yourself,
Anger at myself? Yeah, I made
or
stupid
do you
choices.
holding yourself back from feeling anger at somebody else? I mean,
Well-
I'm not sure what you're saying to me.
I think it really, really mostly is anger at myself. I think the only time that I back and get angry at another person that was in my life is when I'm hungry or tired. And it's not their fault. It's at myself. It's bad choices I made. And I don't know why. I don't think I'm an unintelligent person, but I made some pretty unintelligent choices.
Many of us do. And yet there is a place where if you are serious about wanting to move on in your life, that you have to let that go. So what would it take to let go of that saboteur that is continuously going that you've made some really stupid choices. You are, what's the matter with you? You've messed up your life.
I think what would help is self-love, learning to like yourself, and I think that maybe that's why I'm trying to pursue a more spiritual life right now, because I think that's where it comes from. Because I certainly have wonderful people in my life who love me.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's only something that I've begun to realize lately, is that they really honestly do love me.
so there's more of that perfect life there than you appreciated before.
I think so.
But there's a big piece that's about loving yourself. So one of the things we said before was the gratitude. What about loving yourself? What do you need to boost that perspective of who you are?
I don't know. I guess you gain self-esteem from doing esteemable acts. I can be pretty self-indulgent. I'm a Gemini. I don't know if you know our traits. Schizophrenic. No, but
Brother dear, I love you.
No, but I can. I think I could use a little more self-discipline, and I think also from being sad, I have become more self-indulgent, and I want to get out of that. Sometimes it just seems so hard to just get up and do the errands in the day that need to be done to keep your house together. I can do them for somebody else, but I can't seem to do them for myself.
It's a really good noticing on your part that, because I think that's a very telling statement. You can do them for somebody else, but you can't do them for yourself. So it's really talking, at least my sense is that it is about you, your feeling about who you are. Tell me 3 of your best qualities.
Okay, I think I'm empathetic, and I think I'm compassionate. And 2 different people at 2 different times have told me there's not a bitchy bone in my body. I'm sorry if I use that word wrong.
No, it's okay with me.
On TV. That I'm really a nice person. And I've got a good phone voice.
I love it.
I'm good at talking on the phone. But I think I really am. I'm a good teacher. I've taught at all different things, whether it's canoeing or a camp counselor or a climbing instructor or how to build a fire. Or
all outdoor stuff.
A lot of outdoor stuff. The outdoor stuff was the stuff I loved.
What are you doing outdoors for yourself now?
Not much.
What's going to take to get you outdoors?
Well, of course, being up here right now is helping a whole lot. Another passion that I have is riding horses, and I was doing that right before I came up here, and now I have the chance to do that again. That's a wonderful, wonderful, positive thing.
You said that you're empathetic and compassionate. First 2 things you said about yourself. So
you said find something I liked, yeah. That I thought I was good at, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but my perspective is probably you're very empathetic with others. You're very compassionate with others. So what about applying those traits that are very, obviously those are things that other people have noticed in you. What would it take to apply a little bit of that compassion to yourself?
Feeling like I deserved them.
So what makes you think you have to be perfect?
I don't know if I actually think I have to be perfect, but I just have to be better than I am.
Better than you are, better than you have been.
Better than I have. Yeah, better than I have been. This is where it gets tough for me. This is kind of a gray area. I don't, because I wouldn't look at someone else and say they don't deserve this or they don't deserve that. And I don't actually, I don't want to be complaining about it, but I think that I have felt undeserving of these things.
I get that. I get you really believe that you weren't deserving of the empathy that that you give to others.
I don't think sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So.
No, you can interrupt anytime.
Okay, I don't feel like I've done a good job.
So maybe you haven't. So what did we say earlier about choice?
Make better choices?
What about this moment?
Okay, that every moment is a choice.
Yeah.
Every moment is a choice.
So what if you were to choose right now to be deserving, to act in a deserving way?
Okay, that's a biggie.
Okay. So we're going to
That's a
take a
biggie.
break, and
Okay.
we're going to come back to our last segment. But I want you to think about that, because that is the crux of it. That's what you need to be working on, okay?
Okay.
We'll be right back with more on Insights on Leadership in Life. Thank you.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Insights on Leadership in Life with your host, Roberta Pickett.
Welcome back to Insights on Leadership in Life. Roberta Pickett, your host, and Alison Mader, our guest tonight, who is been very courageous in being willing to let me coach her here on TV. So, Alison, we were talking right before the break about forgiveness and about feeling deserving. And you kind of said that's
That's a
the hard
biggie.
part.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
biggie.
So what does it feel like? I want you to really get into feeling what it feels like to be undeserving. Undeserving.
Like I just haven't done a good enough job. I think I said that before. So instead of repeating myself, what does it feel like to feel undeserving? Like you sort of want to crawl up and you don't stand up straight, and you just feel like you need to say I'm sorry all the time, and you can't move forward.
So it's like you're curled up into a ball.
Yeah, undeserving. Like you just want to go away. Don't bother anyone.
And what would happen if you were to crawl inside that ball? What's the message down deep inside of that person crawled up into the ball?
That you want to go away, that you don't want to deal with it.
You don't want to
Fear.
Fear.
Fear. Yeah.
And what's the fear of?
I don't really know. I don't know. I wish I could say more. Let me try and think. It's the fear of, well, what pops into mind is not succeeding, but that seems so,
Okay, not succeeding at what?
well, will I ever get out of this? Will I ever feel better?
Am I
Yeah.
stuck there?
Am I stuck? Yeah. Yeah. Am I stuck? And sometimes I don't know what the fear is. Sometimes I really don't know what the fear is. A lady that I admired very much once, she was a president of our company. I said, how do you deal with the fear? Because she had to deal with things every day. And she said, you just power through it. And
So what characteristics would you have to call on in yourself to power through it? What being traits? I would have to be what?
stronger emotionally.
Okay.
Stronger emotionally.
So give me some other words that I would have to be what?
Well, unafraid.
Okay. So how about fearless instead of
Fearless. Yeah. Accepting of what others going to come. You need to have a knowledge that you can deal with it.
So So you would have to be knowledgeable too, or
Well,
is it the knowledgeable? It's the
No, just the
knowing-
knowledge that you can deal with it, whatever.
So
comes.
you'd have to believe in yourself.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Not necessarily knowledge of, how to put this together or how to put that together, but that you can deal with it, whatever comes along, that you'll figure it out.
So if
you'll
you
figure
don't
it
know
out.
the way, you'll find
figure it
someone
out.
else, or you'll find a way to find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a real key there, that most of us, we get born into this world, there's no manual. What about being a parent, right? There's no manual
Yeah.
about how to be a parent, what's the right decision to make on how to raise a kid. And so, but somehow you believe in yourself enough to say, I can get through this. I can figure it out.
That's a funny one for me, too, because, I pretty much knew I was always going to be a single mother. I mean, when my daughter was a surprise, and she was a wonderful surprise, but I figured out pretty soon that it was going to be me and Emma. And I never had a doubt. It was scary at times, but I never had a doubt that I would take care of her. Absolutely. But for some reason, I have a doubt that I'll take care of me.
Yes, and see, that's where I want you to call on that same strength that you had with Emma, that same knowledge that no matter what the world threw at you, you were going to protect her, you were going to be there for her, you were going to do whatever it took to raise her and to raise her well. I mean, I get that. It's like you were her rock, or she was your rock, I don't know, but you were there for her. That tells me that courage, that determination, that fearlessness, that survivability is in you.
And there comes the feeling worthy, and of course you're worthy, because if you're not, if I don't take care of myself like that, then I'm just a burden to the rest of the people, in a way,
Well, and even probably with Emma or your daughter, there were times where you might, why did I do that, or why didn't I do this other thing?
Oh yeah.
You make that choice. So even that, life isn't perfect. It's not a straight path that we take. And yet there's this sense that I get that you think that you should know every step of the way what the next step should be, and you should make it firm and clear and good.
Yeah.
But what if there's the learning that when you step in the mud puddle, there's a reason you stepped in it? There's something for you to get from that mud puddle.
Well, that would be nice to have that attitude. Yeah, that would be nice to have that attitude, because then you could always learn. Yeah.
You learn from your mud puddle.
From my mud puddle? Which one?
Pick one, anyone.
Okay, well, from this mud puddle, I might learn that what I'd like to learn now, and I think hopefully I'm on the verge of learning it, is that if I stop trying to avoid it, and I do forge ahead and try and be grateful, and, that I can do it. I can do it. We're really getting open and honest here.
Absolutely. But I also think that when you get to that place of accepting yourself, of knowing that you can move out fearlessly, that's when you're going to find the rest of that perfect life that you started to describe. But if you're curled up in that little fear place, it doesn't mean it's invalid to feel the fear, but that whole feel the fear and do it anyway. It's when you step out, and even if you land in a mud puddle, you go, okay, either that was the wrong place, the wrong direction to go, or I needed to learn something from it. I need to stay away from mud.
It's all connected.
It's all connected, yeah, you bet.
The self-acceptance and the self-love, and because through self-acceptance, then maybe you can have self-love. Yeah. And you can move ahead even when you do fear.
So turn that around and say, I.
When I accept myself, I can feel self-love. And then I can move ahead and quit worrying about what the rest of the world thinks.
And the other thing is, ahead is this moment, and this moment, and this moment. It's not 5 years from now. You only have to worry about this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment.
Well, I think right now I have to keep it that simple, yeah. Maybe in time I can plan, but I think right now I just have to keep it that simple. That's where I've gotten to. That's that's what got me here.
So we talked about doing a little bit of gratitude. We talked about doing some, maybe continuing with your doing some yoga practice, getting back into that a little bit.
Oh, I want to do that, and I have the time, definitely, every
Yeah.
day, even if it's 15, 20 minutes. That's
So how
That's
can
great.
you, so those are two actions, if you will, that you can take and try to start making them more regular. What about something for that self-love, for that believing in yourself piece? What's a step you could take, even if you don't remember to do it every day? It's like, oh yeah, I said I was going to do this. I got to
No,
come back.
you know what? To feed myself well.
Good. You're absolutely right. Yourself well look like.
Healthy, tasty dishes. And I do enjoy making simple, I'm not a gourmet cook, I do enjoy making simple dishes, and also for people who are around me that are, high protein, low carb, lots of fruits and vegetables, what it's supposed to be, but tasty stuff, making something nice for yourself.
And
making your bed every morning
Yeah.
so that you have something nice to get back into.
So what does that say if you were to feed yourself well, or to take care of your bedroom, get your bed set up? What does that tell you back? What's the message you're sending back to yourself?
You're important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can do it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
It's just a start, but I really do appreciate your openness and your honesty and your willingness to be here with me tonight. And to all of you, I really appreciate you sitting in on this little bit different show that we've had in the past. But coaching can make a difference. Again, the hope is that you can find a way to deepen the learning about yourself and find ways to move forward in whatever it is that your dream is, or your goal is, your purpose going forward in life. I hope all of you join us next time, next month, and we'll see you soon on Insights on Leadership and Life. Thank you.